Hey gang, it's James Sexton. Welcome back to Better Call Sexton. We got a big docket for you today filled with lots of good stuff. Make sure you smash the subscribe button, the like button, hit the bell so you get notified every time a new episode comes out. It really does help the channel and we appreciate you doing it. First up on the docket, rappers. Are they really just like us? BBC drops an article about ways you can stay happier, nesting, and all the weird things that rich people do when it comes to divorce. And we take a look at a thought-provoking viewer submission, and of course, we find out once again, am I the asshole? Let's get after it.
So, Jim, we have our first topic here. Quick little video I'm going to send over to you.
Right here. I'm just through. I'm through. It is what it is. You can do that, though. It's okay. You can do that.
This is very relaxing. Look, show my view.
It is very relaxing. You do got a nice view.
But there's so much in that city that you can explore. You see that city?
Like what?
He chooses to play video games over going out and the girl's complaining. It begs the question, I mean, that's a classic circumstance we're all going through.
21 Savage is in his bed in this video. He looks like he's sipping on some lean, I think. I don't know. He's got that cup going. And I don't know if I saw a blunt in his lap. It looked like two there. I mean, he's living the dream right now. Who's criticizing him for this? What does that city have to offer that could be better than what that guy's got going on in that moment? That's incredible. That man leave that 21 Savage be. He is living his best life. Hashtag self-care. You go, 21 Savage. How dare you? How dare you speak? Put some respect on that name. He is out there. You know what? If you walk in and 21 Savage is in a room in your house, first of all, how did 21 Savage get in your house? That's crazy. But if I walk into a room in my house and 21 Savage is playing a video game on the flat screen, sipping some lean with a blunt, I'm going to be like, who wants nachos? I'm going to go get us some nachos and I'm going to join him. And it's not even gay. I'm going to lay down next to him and we're going to play some video games together and we're just going to have a good time. We're going to get our drink on and our smoke on and we're just going to have that's it. 21. This is my invitation to you, my friend. If you find yourself in Manhattan, I won't give you any shit about. I got a great view also. You see me right in front of that TV. I'll be right there next to you, buddy. No problem.
So people are talking about, we'd love to get your take on just kind of a commentary of men versus women when it comes to the idea of doing nothing. It seems a lot of guys just kind of want to chill. They just want to hang out. But women they want to go out. They want to go see the city. They want to go explore. I think he was on tour or something. That's why he's in the city.
I mean, look, first of all, he's on tour. So when you're on tour, you're running around like a crazy person. Listen, as someone who occasionally travels to do media appearances, and I don't do them at the level that 21 Savage does, it's exhausting. When you get home, you just want to be home. You get to a hotel, you just want to get in that hotel, get something to eat, and just lay there with your feet up and not be on a plane, train, or automobile. You just want to not be moving for a minute. And also, too, 21 Savage is going to get recognized. Listen, I am a D-list celebrity at best, and I can't stand still anywhere in Manhattan without somebody coming up to me going, hey, you're that divorce lawyer, and then spending 10 minutes telling me the story of their divorce, going, where were you when I got divorced? The answer, by the way, is asshole. I'm a divorce lawyer. I was working. You could have just hired me. But, look, 21 Savage gets mobbed when he goes out. He probably just wanted to have himself some quiet time. Is this a male or female trait? Look, I certainly can say in my personal experience, yeah, women do like to go do stuff. Certainly. I certainly understand that. Sometimes that's a function of the fact that, women are more social creatures. They're more prone to agreeability. I mean, in terms of personality inventories, that's a documented fact. Jordan Peterson writes and talks about it all the time. He's done research on it. There's plenty of people that have done research on the fact that women tend to have more personality traits of agreeability and socialization than men do. So that's a part of it, is that they're going to want to go out and interact with other people. Some of it is, I think, a function of the fact that men are still predominantly within the United States the breadwinners. So we do tend to spend a lot of time in interaction with other people as a function of our employment. I will tell you, Monday through Friday, I have to interact with so many people that on the weekends, I am happiest if I don't have to say a word to anyone. I am incredibly quiet. I like to be alone. I very often go to my house in upstate New York in the woods where I can be away from anybody because I like to just be quiet and alone because I am overdosed with sensory experiences and interactions with people. And even making small talk seems exhausting because during the week, I'm so accustomed to making small talk in the elevator at the courthouse and chatting with the court clerk and chatting with the court officers. Again, all of whom I enjoy speaking to. But fundamentally, you know, I like sex too, but if I did it for 15 hours a day, 7 days a week, I'd be exhausted and I'd want a break. So there's nothing wrong with people wanting a little break from human interaction. And if the man just wants to stay home and chill out a little bit, let him do that. I'm sure eventually he's going to get bored. He's going to want some social interaction. He's going to go out and enjoy himself. And just give somebody a minute sometimes to just regroup.
That's not entirely true. Little note from Jim's son here. I remember you were very into Guitar Hero 3.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're absolutely right. I was into guitar. Yes. Well, you guys were quite young when that came out. And I had to play. It was Divorced Dad. Divorced Dads into Guitar Hero was probably a thing, like in the early 2010s kind of a vibe. Like that was like a thing we did. You could do something with the kids because there's a reason they chose the songs they chose. Like they chose like Black Sabbath and stuff like that. It was all stuff that guys like me who were divorced at that time and had a playroom for the kids, we would go down and play with the kids and do that stuff. But yeah, that was the last time I was ever into a video game. But that's hardly a video game. I mean, I also played guitar like for real. So it was sort of a throwback to doing that. And I also liked the music.
But I just remember one time we wanted to play and you kicked us off so you could play Guitar Hero.
Goddamn right. Let me tell you something, son. I work hard. That's why daddy gets the big piece of chicken. Okay? That's how it works. Like daddy wants to play Guitar Hero. Daddy's playing Guitar Hero. You're going to sit the fuck down. You can play Guitar Hero later on. I'm going to be at work later on. You can play Guitar Hero while I'm at work. While daddy's home, he gets the big piece of chicken and he gets to play Guitar Hero. That's how it works. That's how it is. And you know what, son? You're pretty close to being able to claim that right. So I think you need to slow your roll, pump the brakes, and you need to get behind that logic. I mean, listen, if I do anything, I absolutely crush it, which by the way, is why I need you to hit like and subscribe and the notification bells, because I need you people to get on board with this show. I will keep making it better and better and better. I promise I will be obsessive in my pursuit of excellence.
So we've got this great article from Business Insider. Have you seen this? Millennial dads stuck in the middle of old school gender expectations and new age working, dual income, all these things, renting. What are we thinking about this?
I mean, listen, you can't argue with the content of this article. It's absolutely true. It's a conundrum that men are currently facing, dads are currently facing. It's not that dissimilar to the conundrum that women have been facing in the workplace for many, many years, which is, if you were a woman in the workplace, but also a working mom, when you were at work, you wanted to mention your kids, but not talk about them too much because you didn't want people to think that you were less effective in the workplace. But whenever you were at work, you were wishing you were with your kids. Whenever you're with your kids, you're thinking you should be at work because work was still reaching out to you. It's not that different from this conundrum for men, which is, there is in the new sort of era of fatherhood, with paternity leave increasing, and the number of expectations on men, being very involved in the process of an infant, even though we may not be the ones breastfeeding, we are the ones who are expected to be involved from day one. And if a man doesn't do that, there's this sense that, hey, what's wrong with him? Is he not, a modern dad? Is he a 1950s dad who's got his wife chained to the kitchen, and making her take care of the baby while he doesn't care? Meanwhile, he may just really enjoy being at work because he's very competent there and he knows the rules there better. And his co-parent may be very happy to have him be at work and to have him out of her hair so that she can take a breath and she can take care of the baby the way that she wants to. I know a lot of guys who deferred their paternity leave until the kid was like 1 or 1.5 because they were like, that's actually when I think I could be more helpful than those early days when the baby really, really is super physically bonded to mom. So I think it's a conundrum for men because we're trying to be too many things. I think anytime men or women try to be too many things, it's a complicated fit. We'd be better off just being what we are, whatever that is, right? Like, I mean, if feminism was supposed to be about anything, it was supposed to be about the right of women to be who they were. So if a woman wanted to be an athlete, if a woman wanted to be a doctor, if a woman wanted to be a soldier, that she had the right to be that. And if she wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, she could be a stay-at-home mom, that she could be whatever she wanted to be. It was about choice. It was about creating a wide open field of choices and not saying, nope, women, you get to be nurses, teachers, or moms, that's it. And men, you don't get to be nurses. You don't get to be teachers. You don't get to be stay-at-home parents. You have to be all these other work-related things, and all your value is your economic value. I think the goal was to transcend that. But unfortunately, what we did was we created a society where now everyone is expected to be everything. You're suspected to be an excellent, productive economic unit and a really involved, deeply tied in parent and a really attentive, wonderful partner to your co-parent or spouse. And you're supposed to be a loving, supportive child to your parents and a wonderful sibling. And you're still supposed to find some time to be good at Call of Duty. You know, it's really not an easy thing. We've created something that I would argue is almost impossible. So you have to pick what you're going to suck at. And this is the classic thing that all of us are now stuck with, and we're all resentful about that thing that we're now forced to suck at and feel less than about, rather than just being able to focus on our strengths unapologetically and openly, which again was the goal. And that's why it's always so baffling to me whenever we talk about anything on gender here, and people in the comments, if I say, you know, women really do like ice cream, I get 50 women in the comments saying, well, I'm a woman and I don't like ice cream. Congratulations. That's absolutely fine. I'm not saying everyone is anything. There's no way. Those kinds of superlatives are never accurate. That's the only never I'll ever tie to, is that superlatives are never accurate. But do we sometimes treat dandruff with decapitation in this culture, where we suddenly just overcorrect so wildly that now fathers are just expected to be 100% attuned to their children's feelings and not push back at all? I think that's a guarantee of our civilization descending into chaos. Part of what made strong, present fathers useful was that mothers were so nurturing and loving, and fathers were a little more rigid. The father was the world. The father was the way the world is going to treat you, which is it doesn't care about your excuses. It tells you to get up and get back to work. And that helps a child see something about the strength in themselves. That's why when you have someone who's like a single mom, which there are many of, that's a really tough role, because to be the supportive, loving nurturer and the voice of discipline and an unforgiving level of focus, it's really hard to strike that balance. It's better if you got two people that can show both of those sides in a broader measure without completely removing one from the other. They both should have, like, it was great when my rigid father occasionally had a soft side. I remember once or twice he would didn't say I love you a lot, but he would do something nice for me, tussle my hair, or he would, let me have the last slice of pizza, or we went to the arcade once and he got me some extra tokens and he let me play video games. And I remember it felt so special because he was so not generous with his praise and his kindness that when he did, it felt so exciting to have it from him. Whereas my mom was always a very loving and sweet person. So, when she did loving, sweet things, it was just a typical Tuesday. Similarly, when she raised her voice, everyone in the house froze. To this day, if someone says James Joseph Sexton, my full name, I freeze in my tracks because I can hear my mother yelling, James Joseph Sexton, get down here. And then I just know whatever it was I did, I'm really going to get in trouble for. So look, I think modern fathers, modern mothers, we have all the unique challenges that come with this generation not knowing what we're supposed to be and not supposed to be. Here's the answer. Be who you are, period.
So coming from the BBC across the pond, we have here 8 ways to stay happier according to science. I'd love to know. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'll read them for you real quick.
Yeah, I love this article, actually. Yeah, go ahead. Run some of them down.
So up first, we have embrace friendship as we age. Looking for, I guess, more friends out here. Look, time to build happiness that way.
Yeah, I mean, some of these, listen, it's a great article. It's worth the read. What I'll say is some of them I think are self-explanatory. Have friends. Oh, okay, yeah, having friends will improve the quality of your life. But some of them really bear repeating, like volunteering, go out and volunteer. I have to tell you, that is a fantastic suggestion. I know people are pressed for time, but you don't need a lot of time to be an effective volunteer. We talked a couple of weeks ago in an episode about mentoring and the lack of male mentors and how there have been countless studies that show that young men who have a male mentor of some kind have much, much better outcomes. It is so easy to volunteer for an hour or two a week. In your town, there is currently a home for senior citizens. There is a group of people with special needs. There is a hospice, most likely. There is a hospital, all of whom just need you to just show up. Just show up, bring people little cups of apple juice from the refrigerator in the place, or read to somebody, or read to someone who's semi-conscious or unconscious and may not even be able to hear you, or just show up and help do some yard work at somebody's house who's tending to an ill loved one. Nothing will make you feel better about your life than forgetting about your life for a minute and taking care of someone else. I promise you. I beg of you to try this. I have accomplished so many things in my life that I'm proud of. I love that I've published books. I love that I've built a successful practice and a reputation as a divorce lawyer. I am proudest of the time I've spent as a hospice volunteer. It was the most rewarding thing I have ever done and continues to be. I have never felt more alive, more profoundly grateful for my life and everything in it than when I've spent time as a hospice volunteer. And you know what I did as a hospice volunteer? Banal things, sitting and reading to someone, helping someone write a letter to a loved one, running errands for somebody while they're caring for a sick loved one who's terminally ill. It is so easy to just go out and do something for someone else. And that's one of the things, almost all of the things in this article are things that involve removing yourself as the focus of your life, removing yourself as the center of the universe around which everything revolves, because that's a surefire, guaranteed way to be miserable.
Second one here we have is practice confelicity. It's a play on the idea of shared pain, saying that we need to have shared happiness. That not only should we share pain, but we should share happiness.
Yeah,
be happy.
It's really about sharing
happy.
emotional. Confelicity sounds like a weird sex position, but what it really is about the sharing of experience, about peak experiences, whether that's the sharing of great joy or the sharing of someone's pain. And not in the schadenfreude sense, where it's like you're taking pleasure in the pain of another person. It's in the sharing of a person's pleasure or pain, being with someone during your peak experiences and their peak experiences. I think that's a great way to, again, become less self-centered and more other-focused.
So you spoke about this actually in a much earlier episode, and I think it's now catching on. People are finding out about it. We have an article here from Business Insider about nesting, the whole keeping kids in one house, then mom and dad are coming back forth in between. And I kind of asked this question about these kind of weird things that only the really, really rich people get to do. What's something in your experience you've seen, this nesting stuff, all these different kind of weird things they do?
Well, the reason why nesting is popular, if it's popular at all, it's popular among the wealthy, is you have to have the ability to have 3 homes. I mean, that's required in order to nest, because the idea of nesting, for those of you who are uninitiated, I talked a little bit about it in a prior episode, is the kids have a home. And it's usually the home that the parties, we call the former marital residence. It's the residence where the parties live together as husband and wife. And that becomes the kids' home. And whoever has parenting time, or what we used to call visitation with the children. Now we call it parenting access or parenting time because we just changed the name. Whoever changed, the same person changed Black to African American. It's just different terms, supposed to evoke a different kind of thinking, but it's really just a term for the same thing that it was before. So, parenting access or parenting time, that person goes to the nest and is with the kids. So the kids are always in one location, and whoever has the kids during that period of parenting access is in the home. But this requires that the parents each have some place else to go. I've even had it in the city that they have another nest, meaning that the mom and dad separately live in one apartment, but they're not in that apartment at the same time. They're never there at the same time. So one's in the apartment and then one's in with the kids. And then sometimes people do this informally with their Hamptons houses, where like in the summer, they'll say, okay, you'll be with mom in the Hamptons house this week and dad in the Hamptons house the following week. And they'll do that on a regular basis when they have, because a lot of New Yorkers, high net worth New Yorkers, have a place out east and they have a place in Manhattan. And that's what they do, is they do a nesting sort of like that, because you can go to that, the Hamptons house in the off time too. And then you make the kids home where the nest is during the non-summer months. These are the kinds of things, if you have unlimited resources, you can do. It doesn't usually work. Once people start dating other people, they want to bring the person over. And now it's like, why did you bring them to the nest? Why'd you bring them to the house? Well, where else was I supposed to bring them? We'll see them on your time. Don't see them on the kids' time. It's also still forces people to be very tied to each other. I think in a perfect world, people who are, co-parents would be able to navigate each other in this very smooth way that would enable nesting. I've seen it done successfully a few times, but I've seen it started successfully and devolve into chaos a lot more often in practice. It's the kind of thing that it's kind of like communism, democracy, and monogamy. It's a great idea. And then in practice, the wheels come off the thing really, really fast.
So we have our viewer submission.
Viewer submissions. Remember, submissions at sextonshow.com. We do, in fact, read all of them. You can drop us ideas for stories. You can drop us hate mail, love mail, whatever it is you want to share with us. We're open to it. We're open for business. How do I navigate the world of social media in a modern relationship? I feel like this is the most recent and unique problem to relationships in my generation. As we continue on this path, not having social media seems impossible. Should you be allowed to like, share, comment, etc. on whatever you want in social media? Should you follow each other? Should you share passwords? Max, that's a lot of very big questions. And I to try to take each one of those would require an entirely different show, but I'll try to break it down one at a time. I think you're absolutely right. This is a recent and unique problem in relationships for your generation. I think everyone's trying to figure it out all at the same time. And as we continue on the path, I think not having social media is increasingly difficult. It's not impossible, but it's increasingly difficult personally and professionally. I think, it's kind of like when you don't drink, people assume you're an alcoholic. If you don't have social media, people assume that you're either like the Unabomber or a sociopath, or that you're trying to hide who you actually are. It's no longer considered that you're like a cool neo-Luddite. So let's look at your specific questions. Should you be allowed to like, share, comment, etc. on whatever you want on social media? I feel, Max, like you had a fight about this. I feel like you liked the picture and she saw that you liked the picture and she wants to know why you liked that picture, or she wants to know why you followed that girl whose boobs are nicer than hers. I feel like that's what probably happened here. And, I don't claim to know the answer for your relationship. I guess what I would say is, in relationship in general, it's probably better to think about if your partner engaged in the behavior that you're engaged in, how would you feel about it? And if the answer is, if she liked a picture of Justin Theroux with his oops, I didn't know I was sexy stubble sitting on his motorcycle, or she commented with a heart, how would you feel about that? If you'd be okay with it and go, yeah, it's a harmless crush, whatever, it's social media, it's not the same as actually walking up to someone and saying, I think you're so hot, then it's okay. But if it would cause you to pause, it would make you feel insecure, it would upset you, maybe think about whether you want to subject her to those same kinds of feelings. Also, maybe think about some of the things you can do to counterbalance against that kind of a thing. Look, it's perfectly okay to note that other people are attractive. It's perfectly okay to note that you're interested or curious in what other good-looking people are doing or what they're wearing or what they look like. But it might be a good opportunity for you to say, hey, listen, that all looks nice, but I'm very happy with what I've chosen. It's important to reinforce to your partner that, look, we're human. We're both going to find other people attractive. We're both going to see shiny objects all the time, but we're happy with the choices that we made, and we'd still choose the same person over and over again if given the opportunity. Should you follow each other? I mean, again, this is a very personal relationship choice that the two of you get to do. I think it's a little weird when couples don't follow each other. It feels a little like, okay, who are you performing for then? And what is it that you don't want your partner to see? It begs that question, but it could be that you want this person to have a little privacy and autonomy and you want the same for yourself. So again, the only two people in the relationship are the two people that should be governing the rules of that relationship. That's why I'm a prenup evangelist. I'm a believer, your relationship, your rules. Period. Keep it simple. You don't want the government making rules for you. You don't need me making rules for you. You don't need the huddled masses in the comments making relationship rules for you. If the two of you are happy, that's all that matters. I don't care where you sleep, who you sleep with, who you follow, who you like, who you click the follow for or don't. It doesn't matter. If the two of you are satisfied, that's all that matters. Should you share passwords? I've always thought sharing passwords, again, is just one of those things that if you're doing it because you don't trust your partner, trust me, that is not going to solve the problem of not trusting your partner. If you don't trust your partner, you've got a bigger problem than not knowing their password. If you don't trust your partner, you need to have a conversation with yourself or with your partner about what's going on in the relationship that's causing you to feel that you need to have this person's password to prevent them from cheating on you. Because that's what it comes down to, if that's what it comes down to. And you need to just be honest with yourself and with your partner about that, because that's a bigger problem. You're never going to know, okay, is that their only account? Do they not have another account? Do they not have another phone? I know their phone code, but maybe they have another phone. If you're that worried about it, that alarm bell that's ringing in your head is either a function of something that's wrong in the relationship or something that's wrong in you. that's causing you to feel this way, that whether it's a deep set insecurity, whether it's past experiences and traumas that you've experienced in other relationships that you're now extrapolating onto this new relationship. Like sometimes things that aren't real become real in their consequences. So what you have to think about is whether or not you want your next relationship to be one that's based on you keeping someone on a very short tether, because that's not real security. Because as soon as that person goes away from you, or you don't have the password to one of their apps, are you then going to have all that old terror fire back up again? Because now the only thing that made you feel safe was how tightly tethered you had this person. So again, for your own benefit and the benefit of the person you're in a relationship with, I think it's perfectly okay to say no on the password and to talk about why you'd want them to begin with. But again, Max, we're all figuring this out together. None of us are experts on it. All of us have to do this by trial and error. And it's really, really important throughout that whole process to be very honest with yourself and with your partner about what's going on in your head. So this is a future tense, am I the asshole? Will I be the asshole? Okay, or would I be the asshole? This is a hypothetical assholery. Here we go. Would I be the asshole for divorcing my wife after she cheated after her parents died? Okay. About a month ago, my wife's parents both died in a car crash. She has been an emotional mess, understandably so. We live in her hometown, so we've been seeing her family and friends often. I've been supportive any way I can. I've taken care of all the house chores. I've been there for her every day. Here's where things get messy. She has an ex. Let's call him Luke. Luke is not just her ex. Luke is still friends with her and her first love. They were high school sweethearts, and Luke was almost like another child to her parents. The death of her parents affected Luke a lot too. Honestly, I didn't initially like the fact that they were friends, but I trust my wife and moved on from that feeling. A few days ago, my wife said she was going to go out with her family. I told her I could go with her, but she insisted on going alone. She didn't come back till the next morning. I tried to call her and call her family members. No one knew where she was. When she did come back, she was a mess. I asked her where she was all night. She told me she fucked up so much. I tried to calm her down and told her just tell me what happened and that it's okay. She can talk to me. She said she slept with Luke. I didn't react much. I told her I needed some time to think. She's apologized so many times. I did eventually ask her what happened. She said she met up with Luke and they were both messes. They reminisced about her parents, which led to them remembering their relationship. They were both drinking and it just happened. I'm so conflicted right now. My wife is probably going through the worst time in her life, but I don't think I want to be with her now. I'm furious at her. Okay. So, wow, this is a heavy one. But I'm going to say, I think whatever you do, you're not an asshole. But I think you have a very, very difficult choice to make here. And I think you should give yourself a little grace and give her a little grace. First of all, your wife just went through an unimaginable tragedy to lose both of her parents in an accident. That's an unbelievably awful thing. And as you said, she's an emotional mess. You live in her hometown, so she's constantly surrounded by it. And this just happened a month ago. So that's a lot. It sounds like you've done all the right things. You've been supportive, and that's amazing. You should be commended for that. It's understandable that she reconnected with this Luke individual who knew her parents and was part of a time in her life when she was with her parents and they have the shared connection of her parents. I can tell you, when you lose people, being around people who knew those people is very comforting to you. And she's still in early grief right now. So she spent time with this person. That's understandable as well. It's also understandable that you were uncomfortable with it, but it's very cool of you that you were like, okay, let's let that happen because maybe that's what she needs in her grief. So again, so far, nobody here is an asshole, including Luke. Okay. She stayed out. She didn't come back till the next morning. She was a mess. She came home and confessed to what happened. She parsed it as that she fucked up. So she took responsibility for it. She admitted it. She realized right away this was a big mistake. This isn't so. She gets some points for that. Again, you don't lose points for that. It hurts just as bad. I'm not taking that away from you, my friend. But the fact that this was not an ongoing affair with this person that she's justifying and saying Luke was her soulmate, because I've seen that one in my office about 1,000,000 times. This, she said she fucked up. So she's acknowledging that she made a terrible mistake. And there was also alcohol involved. And I'm not saying that alcohol is an excuse, but it certainly impairs people's judgment and they do things that they wouldn't have otherwise done. And again, if it was just a regular Friday night and her parents hadn't both died in a car crash a month before, I might not give her the pass if she just went out and got drunk and hooked up with an ex-boyfriend. But when you're hanging out with someone who had a shared past, dealing with grief, and you throw alcohol into the mix, and then you admit that you fucked up, I have a very hard time not feeling some sympathy for your wife because I think she knows what she did was terrible. And she knows that she now took a life that was already in total disarray, her own and yours, and made it exponentially worse because now she's lost both her parents and she may have screwed up and lost her marriage as well. So look, I think you have a right to feel conflicted right now. I think you have a right to your feelings in this situation. No one should tell you otherwise. Your wife is also navigating a tremendous amount of grief, and now also probably the grief of her own, her own behavior and the mistake that she acknowledges that she made. What do I think that you should do? I think there's a lot of hope in your last sentence that I don't think I want to be with her right now. I think you need to think about where that is in context. So in the moment that you're in right now. There's a lot of questions that would come into my mind if you came into my office right now with this fact pattern, or even if your wife came into my office right now. First of all, I'd ask you if you have kids, because if you have kids, you have a tremendous incentive for the two of you to try to figure this out in some way, at a minimum, so that there can be some peace between the two of you, whether you're going to stay together or you're going to split up, that you can put infidelity into a proper context. Look, there are many, many couples that have issues of infidelity, and there's a big difference between ongoing relationship that a person says, okay, I'm leaving you for this person because I want one like you but better than you, and someone who makes a mistake. People make mistakes all the time. We're human. It happens, okay? And when someone admits that they made a mistake, again, it doesn't get rid of the mistake. You can throw a plate against the wall and break it and then apologize to it. It doesn't fix the plate. But it doesn't mean it is certainly a different circumstance than if someone takes a sort of egregious position of saying like, well, I cheated because you forced me to cheat, or I cheated because you pushed me into someone else's arms. When someone says I cheated, I fucked up. I shouldn't have done that. I should have come home. I should have not given into that temptation. If I was unsatisfied in the relationship, I should have ended our relationship and then gone forward with this other person. So when someone is candid about the fact that they screwed up, I think that, but again, I don't think this situation has any assholes in it, except maybe whoever was who crashed into her parents' car. I think at the end of the day, this is a lot of hurt people hurting people. You certainly, sir, are the most innocent of the people that are in this situation. But if you came into my office looking to file for divorce, I would tell you, unless there was some emergency situation that required you to file right now, I'd just tell you to take a breath. I would tell you, a good lawyer would tell you, listen, I'm not retiring anytime soon. If you still want to divorce this woman in a month or in 2 months or in 6 months, we'll still be here. You'll still be able to divorce her then. But give yourself a minute. If you need to take a little break, if you need to step out of, move away for a couple of days, or go away for a couple of days, or be away from her for a few days, don't feel guilty about that. It's not your job to be, caring for her in this situation. You may not even be qualified to really care for her in this situation as she tries to navigate, the mistake she made when it comes to the situation with Luke. But it is really important that you pause and, don't act in haste and regret and leisure. All right, it's time for Sexton-ism. As you guys know, this is a collection of sayings that I say frequently, some of which I've made up, some of which I probably stole from someone else. I have no idea, but I say them so much that my staff thinks they should be put into a book. So until that book comes out, this is what you get. And one that I say very often is, no plan survives first contact with the enemy. We go in with a lot of strategy. We're constantly strategizing in my office. We're constantly thinking about the best way to approach situations. Strategy is an incredibly important part of any kind of conflict. Lao Tzu says in The Art of War that strategy without action is useless contemplation, but action without strategy is just the noise before defeat. So it's important to have a plan, but it's also important to remember that no plan survives first contact with the enemy. That everybody has a plan. As Mike Tyson once put it, everybody has a plan and then they get punched in the face. So when you have first contact with the enemy, the first time that you engage with your plan, there's always going to be some shift in the plan, which is why you have plan A, plan B, plan C, and plan D. 2 is 1 and 1 is none. If you have only one plan A and no plan B, you don't have any plan at all, because no plan survives first contact with the enemy. Hey, thanks for spending some more time with us, folks. It was great to see you. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It really does help the channel. And remember to send your submissions at sextonshow.com. Story ideas, hate mail, love mail, whatever it is you want to send us. My team will look at it and we'll be happy to give you a shout out sometime soon.